I mean, we are in the presence of a celebrity right now. This is
We
like...
are.
She did the Super Bowl commercial with Bill Murray and Jeep.
That's it right there.
This is it. This is the one that started it all.
You planned that.
No, I didn't, but yeah, that's cool.
Could we be in line for something funny to come out of the mouth?
Just might happen. What a little cute.
She's the best.
Everyone deserves to feel their best. Everyone deserves to move their best and not have pain.
I'm a little upset that Ben got like 2 inches taller because he's already tall, dark, and handsome enough.
Culture is something we think about like all the time at Strookies. You know, we're all coming from different cultures.
Our comments have exploded
Through the roof.
So there you go. Welcome back. Another show.
The show started, Jeff.
I know the show started. We're prepared, believe it or not. I believe it. We're always prepared.
We are 100% prepared.
Yeah, we have an amazing producer with Chris Stone from Cast Ahead, and Ben does a lot of the back end stuff for Lancaster Connects, and I go out and meet people at times, and that's how we made our connection today to Ephrata Performing Arts Center from the Northern Lancaster County, from the Chamber Palooza event. That's where it happened. Yes, there is a business Chamber Palooza.
You got Lollapalooza and then Chamber Palooza. It's nearly as big, but it's right below.
It was kind of like Lollapalooza and Coachella meets business Chamber Palooza
in Lancaster.
Yeah. There was no drum circles and no midnight dancing and no funky cigarettes or anything.
I got you. I don't know what those are.
Yeah, me neither. But I was grabbing my phone because we are prepared, but I had to grab my phone because my rundown, we started this new thing at the beginning of the show about the community, because that's what our show's about, Lancaster Connects and community, and not so much these two chuckleheads joking around, although we did a little bit of that just now. And we can't talk about football year round. And so here we are. So here's our rundown. So it's Halloween time. So we're going to bookend the rundown with Halloween spooky stuff.
Yeah. Maybe Chris could put some bats on the screen.
Yeah. Right. Or jump scare stuff. My wife sent me a reel last night.
Yeah.
My wife sent me a reel last night from Instagram. And I said, if you ever do that, I will.
She got you?
No, she sent me a reel. Like, what if I did this to you? And I said, I would divorce you immediately. Like, the next thing you would hear is papers with my signature from the attorney.
Okay.
It was that bad. It was not something I would appreciate in any way, shape, or form, ever at all.
You just gave me something to do for the next week and a half.
Yeah. No, not happening. I'll divorce you too. Anyway. To the rundown. Halloween is upon us next week, Thursday. So what better place to go do spooky stuff than Spooky Nook?
Well done.
Kids night costume party. That sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, Halloween was so cool back in the day. Remember the plastic masks that we had?
Oh my gosh, with the little slit
little
that you had
slit
to
and the little eyes, and you're like walking around, like tripping over stuff.
Halfway through the night, the little rubber band strap would break.
So you get the stapler out, you put 7 and then you had your face all cut. Man, life was great back then. So anyway, trick or treat night at Spooky Nook. That is on. I need to bring it up here. My apologies. It's at Spooky Nook, which is right there off of 283, and Halloween night kids costume party. And of course, this is not now coming up for the date. Great, just fantastic. Just as I say, we're prepared. We'll move on. I'll come back.
We were prepared. We just forgot our paper in the office.
Yeah.
So now we're relying on digital technology,
on Jeff navigating technology live. I got it. So this is Friday. There we go. Friday this week at 6:00, 6 to 9:30 at Spooky Nook Sports, 75 Champ Boulevard. So go check that out. Fun community night for the kids. I'm sure lots of trick or treating. Big venue there, so I'm sure they got a lot of fun planned. Spooky Nook Kids Night this Friday, the 26th. 6:00 to 9:30. All right.
Cool.
So that's that one. And then we have Yuletide at the Renaissance Fair.
Oh,
PARenfair.com. Yeah. This is neat. Old timey costumes. Krampus is there. Belschnickel.
So this is when is this? Is this for Christmas?
So this is for Christmas, but you want to start getting tickets now because it
Right.
looks like it sells out fast.
Yes.
And there's a special deal. There's
is that-
discounted tickets now.
Is that Krampus?
That's a Krampus right there. That's a Krampus representation.
I mean, that's the real deal.
Yeah.
That is the real deal.
I got to Krampus it up one time in Germany in December at a German Christmas fair.
Okay.
It was awesome.
Like you wore that?
No, but
Oh,
I got
you
to like
got
take
to
pictures and
experience.
hang out. Yeah, I got to dig those out. Maybe we'll get
Yeah.
those out for Christmas time.
I'd like
Yeah.
to see that.
So Yuletide at the PA Ren Fair, sharing that now because tickets are on sale now. Little pre-sale action. So if you go, I'm sure, to their Facebook or parenfair.com/Yuletide, you can save some money. It looks like you're saving a few bucks on each ticket. Kids are only $3 a ticket, which is great. Like that's a great deal. That's way less than a Happy Meal because,
$3 to get freaked out by a Krampus.
Yeah. That's great. I love it. I love Krampuses. It's just awesome.
What does a Krampus do?
It's like, for bad kids.
It's okay, yeah. It seems like it.
Yeah, that's what it is. You'll like this one. So this is right in your backyard.
Oh,
Well, our backyard, but you live there. Manheim Township.
yeah.
Township Tonic is the name of the band.
Ah,
So these fine
I
music
read about
students.
these folks. Yes.
Yeah. Do you know they raised $2,000 for charity playing music?
I did not, but that's amazing.
So shouting them out. Great for these young adults. These students here come together for the passion of music.
That's
Which-
really, really cool.
If you didn't know, fun gardener's fact, this guy has a degree in
Music.
music.
I do. Yeah.
I mean, it came
Not
right
playing any of those instruments.
came right up 462 and 999 from Millersville to gardeners' bedrooms and waterbeds.
Yep.
And just put that degree to work lifting mattresses and
Started
never got
selling
back
beds.
to it.
Yep. Hey, when you're good, you're good.
That's right. But hey, you do some singing in church and
Kind of.
you had some trombone in over the years.
I did. Yeah.
Maybe you could sit in
I
with
actually-
Township Tonic.
Busted out the trombone the other day. Julian's honking the saxophone, and he learned his first song. So I got out the trombone and played a song with him.
What's
We're
the
not.
song?
We're not. Oh, it was Hot Cross Buns. That's like the first song every kid
Is that what it
learns when they're
in
when
bands? Is
they
that
start
what
an
it is?
instrument.
Hot
Yeah.
Cross Buns.
Lindsay took a video. We are not going to.
Oh, I'm getting that video. Oh, yeah. I'm getting that video, and I know just how I'm going to do it, too. But anyway, shout out to these kids in Manheim Township Tonic. I mean, I think it's really great when
That's
kids get active, follow their passion, and then lay the trifecta over top to raise some money for their community. And they did
Pretty
$2,000. I mean,
That's
That's-
not nothing.
that's some separation dollars right there. In the scheme of charity, there's a tremendous amount of people that really don't do anything, and then there's people that do some stuff, but then there's people who raise money, and good for them.
Yep.
Township Tonic, way to go. Then we've got a great ambassador for Lancaster City Alliance. So this is Regina. She is the ambassador of the month, and she really works with the unhoused populations, which in Lancaster County, we've got a lot of people that are homeless. It's one of the things that we direct our charitable efforts to with Off the Streets, getting them mattresses for people that they get into homes. There's a lot of programs, but there's a lot of disconnection sometimes. And that can be from what's available to maybe it's the person. Maybe they don't understand what's available to them. Maybe they, just don't quite want the programming and the help at first. But Regina is out there just working tirelessly to get those folks into programming, get them access, make them aware of all that's available to really help their situation and get them on the path to being in a home at some point. And if not, at least getting access to programs that, are available. So congrats, Regina, for being the Lancaster City Alliance Ambassador of the Month.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then to bookend it back to Halloween, this is a lot of fun. This is Saturday the 26th, so I apologize. Spooky Nook is Friday the 25th.
So you could do both.
You do both. Double dose of Halloween. Fantastic. And then trick or treat on Thursday night and just get your kids all sugared up
That's right.
for the whole week. But Clipper Magazine Stadium downtown where the Stormers play. So the Halloween parade's going to start at the stadium and then weave out the stadium downtown.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that starts at 7:00 and you'll want to check that out. I'm sure you go to Lancaster Stormers Facebook, their website, you'll find all the details, but just really fun. It's always neat to see our community come together like that. So you got Spooky Nook supporting Halloween, you got Barnstormers supporting Halloween. Of course, the Stormers do a great job with Christmas lights and Christmas.
Yeah, that's coming up too.
That's coming up too.
Before we know it.
And these two guys are working something pretty fun for Christmas lights.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
we
we'll
are.
leave it at that. We'll tease it like that Hot Cross Buns song. That's going to be your Christmas gift. Lancaster Connect fans.
I feel remorse for sharing that, and or regret, not remorse, regret.
You didn't just share it with me; you shared it with all of them.
I shared it with
we owe the
million
people
followers that we
We
have.
owe the people.
All right.
Speaking of performances,
I think it's time for our guest.
it is.
Let's bring Mr. Ed Fernandez on from the Ephrata Performing Arts Center. Ed, welcome to the show.
Hi. How you doing? You set my baby boomer memory back talking about Halloween, I've got to say, with those plastic masks and the one-piece jump that tied in the back with polyester.
Yeah.
A little slit with the mouth and and the pumpkin bag that people put candy in. So I just went to a memory reverie right there about Halloween. So thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, trick-or-treating these days is completely different than when we were kids. It's like they get full-size candy bars and like they get great things at every house. And I'm like, I remember when we were young.
No one's giving out toothbrushes.
No. All right. Well, we're not here to talk about Halloween. We're here to talk about the Ephrata Performing Arts Center. And you're the artistic director there. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, I'm the artistic director.
And I believe you've been involved there since when?
1986 was my first year. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was involved as an actor in 86. Then I became a director in 89. They talked me into direct. I never directed before. They talked me into directing a show. And in 1989, I directed my first show. And then I was a freelance director, actor there, plus in other theaters in the area. And then I became artistic director in 1996. So there hasn't been a year since 1986 that I wasn't involved in EPAC in one way or another.
That's amazing. So you know a few things about the theater, right?
Yeah, I know a few things. I know a little bit. I hope after all this time I picked up a little bit of knowledge, but I know a little bit.
So Ed, I have a question because I am untheatered as an individual.
Okay.
I've watched theater, but I've never done on stage. So what's the difference between director and artistic director?
Okay, well, artistic director is sort of a director directs one production. I mean, you can call an artistic director a director. Basically, as artistic director, I manage and I'm responsible for anything artistic that happens on our stage. It happens in the theater in terms of hiring the artistic staff. Basically, I'm a producer. I put together the staff. I help the individual directors in the individual productions. I help them get them the creative team to put the show together. And I help them with casting, and I do quality control. So I'm basically in charge of, as artistic director, I'm in charge of I'm sort of the team manager for every production. And I'm responsible for quality control of every production to maintain the quality of the product. So basically, I manage everything artistic in the theater. Now, a director is an individual director of a show, and they're responsible for that show, to put together everything for that show, to direct that show, to make their vision of the show come alive via the narrative, via the actors, the creative team, make sure everybody's on the same page, and that the production as a whole works. And I'm sort of the advisor on that. Now, I direct a majority of the shows as well. Being the artistic director, I also direct the majority of the shows that we present. At least 3 a year, I personally direct as well.
Very good. Very good. Well, thanks for that clarification.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
So, Ed, let's talk a little bit about the history of the Ephrata Performing Arts Center.
Okay. Well, it started, the history is so meshed with the building itself. Because I think doing the research on the building itself, it was a barn originally back, and it used to sit in the middle of what is a parking lot now, and then it was moved to what it was. And it was a pavilion, a summer pavilion. It was a barn, then it was a summer pavilion. And then it was nice in the Depression, I believe it was a roller skating rink. And then in the early 50s, I believe a man called John Cameron came down from New York. And this is when summer stock was really big in the United States, which it kind of isn't anymore. Summer stock would be during the summer, the actors would go out into all over the country and have theaters that just operated in the summer. And a lot of the actors, it came from the fact that Broadway, before pre-air conditioning, used to close down in the summer because they didn't have air conditioning. So the actors would go out to like open air theaters, and they would go all over the country. And summer stock was really, really big. Not so much anymore. But so in the early 50s, a man called John Cameron, a producer from New York, came down to Ephrata and did a professional summer stock theater in the building, in the barn. And he would get stars. He had a lot of connections. So like he would get stars from Broadway to come down and do productions here. And that lasted for a very long time. And then when he left, it became a lot of people took over the theater, like the group called Gallimaufry, Millersville ran it for a while, and then the 70s, late 70s, I think they were going to tear down the building because it was an old ramshackle barn, no air conditioning, no bathrooms. The customers had to go outside to use the park bathrooms. I mean, it was really old school, and I think they wanted to tear it down, and the community got together and formed a not-for-profit arts organization called the Ephrata Performing Arts Center. Basically, I think it's the same building. So then it became a community theater. It became what was called a community theater. When the borough, a couple of people from the borough, several people came to save the theater. And that operated as a summer theater until, and then I took over in 1996 as artistic director. And then I scheduled up until the shows used to just be June, July, and in August. I pushed it to September, which there was no heat or air conditioning, so it was very, very cold. And then in 2003, we renovated completely the theater to a full-term theater. It was a major renovation, and a lot of the theater was torn down, and except for the stage and the beams and some essential parts of the theater, and we built a whole new theater around it with rehearsal spaces, and we were able to go full year. So that is the short history of the theater. So as you can see, the building itself is very enmeshed with the history of the theater.
Yeah, very neat. Mm-hmm. I'd like to think maybe that first show was the farmer in front of the cows, just trying to entertain them a little bit, so they gave a little more milk.
I mean, the history is really, really interesting because you have the cloisters. That religious.
I was going to say that too. The cloisters came over with the farmer and said, let's
that was right across the river. And the Art Center, which is a very beautiful building in the park, because we're in the park, that was where these two sisters lived. And it's really, and then there were spiritualists. There was Camp Silver Bell, because Ephrata was a really hot spot for spiritualism. I don't know if you know that, but it was what's now the Hampton. We used to call it the Haunted Hotel. Yes, I
may or may not have been in there as a teenager.
I always wanted to, but I never did. And that was all spiritualists were in there, and I think they had a camp in the park. So it was really interesting, all that stuff. But so the theater has existed and gone through many transformations, and it is still here. Bigger, and better than ever.
That's cool. I love the fact that the community saved it. Like, it would have been easy for people to just be like, oh, we're just tearing this old building down, and that's the end of it.
It was so, when they tore down the theater, this was real. I think like the bulldozers just touched it and it fell. It was on it. The building was old. It was on its way out, and there was no air conditioning. It got so hot. And I remember doing shows when it was 110 degrees. And it was like,
oh, man.
I have no nostalgia for the old theater. I mean, people say, "Don't you miss the old theater?" No, I absolutely do not miss the old theater.
We like our modern
I
comforts.
like
Yeah.
bathrooms, and I like air conditioning, and I like heating in the winter. But
Yep.
And so now people can come to a great facility, a great theater. And what are the kinds of shows you're putting on?
well, we put on a large selection of shows. Everything from modern musicals to classic musicals to American classics to Shakespeare. We have a wide range of product that we put up, a different thing, a lot of variety of theater. What we were known for is back in the day when I first started, there were a couple of board members who and we started what they call pushing the envelope, doing shows that weren't done around here. I mean, to give you an example of the change in this area as far as theater is concerned, in 1990, I directed my second production was Little Shop of Horrors, and we couldn't get any corporate sponsors because the show was deemed risky. This is Little Shop.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, we don't want to touch that show.
How very footloose of Ephrata.
It was like really, that was the norm. There's a lot of stuff you couldn't do. And we said a lot of the board members had gone to New York. I had come from New York, and we started pushing, doing new work. We started pushing boundaries of censorship. We started doing new work, and that's how we kind of got known. That's how we got ourselves out there, really, by doing this kind of work. And we lost some people along the way, but we gained a lot, and we gained attention because we had a niche that we filled. But we always tried to vary that with like old musicals, like classical musicals and classical comedies, and honor the whole spectrum, the history of theater and all the different genres of theater, from the past to the present. So we wanted to, but keeping our niche of modern work and moving forward, and yet sort of celebrating the old classics and Shakespeare,
Well,
so we have a very varied, eclectic season, which we still have to a certain extent, like the show we're doing now, Gypsy, which is a classic musical from it's called the golden era of musicals, the golden age, they call it.
Before you tell us all about Gypsy, I just have to ask, because it was on the screen, and you were there in the early '90s.
Yeah.
Tell me about the show. Once Upon a Mattress?
That's a classic musical.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm on theater.
It's not what you think. It's the princess. Sorry, it's not what you're thinking. It's actually a musical about the story about the princess and the pea. They pile the mattresses up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe that one could get dusted off, and Gardeners could be a sponsor.
I think they just revived it. I think they just revived it on Broadway. They just revived it on Broadway. So
I see a partnership. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
So Ed, I want to know.
We're talking about Gypsy.
Yeah, Gypsy. But maybe before we get to Gypsy, who comes to these shows? Is it mostly local people, or does the theater actually pull people from maybe some of the metro areas, Harrisburg, Philadelphia, New Jersey?
Yeah, no, we a small amount. Mostly our audience, when we do a demographic search, most of our audience is Wyomissing, this side of Wyomissing, Reading, and Lancaster City. That is our biggest audience base.
And how many? I was wondering how many people does the theater hold each night?
It holds 300.
Okay.
At maximum, 270 really. At maximum capacity, it holds about 270.
That's really cool.
And we do get some people that drive from Philadelphia. We do get some people, and depending on the show, we do get people from Harrisburg. But our core audience is locals. Is people from Lancaster City and people, because back in the day, the only like two, it was us, EPAC, Fulton in the winter and EPAC in the summer. So we had a cross audience base, and we still have that base. We still have a lot of Lancaster City people who come down.
Yeah, we've got the theater on the screen. It's gorgeous. I'm aware of the theater because every so often I get out for First Sunday in Ephrata, which in the motorcycle community, it's known as First Sunday. And all the motorcycle guys, when I had motorcycles and now my slingshot,
yes,
come out
first
Sunday morning, the first Sunday of each morning. And you're in the parking lot and you see the theater at the end of the parking lot. But this is beautiful inside. We've got it on screen. Cool. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. And that was, after post-renovation. Yeah.
That's cool. Ed, would you call that in the round? Is that, or it's close to it?
It's called Thrust. It's called the Thrust space. Oh, that's the old lobby. Don't show that. That was completely redecorated.
Chris, get it out, Chris. Come on.
Our lobby is beautiful now. David Lyle, who is a interior designer and is on our board of directors, he was president for a while. He came in and he saw our lobby. He goes, "No, this needs to be redone." And we did a renovation of our lobby, and it is absolutely gorgeous now. I wish we had a picture of it. But yeah, so that is getting back to your question. That is called a thrust stage because it's three-sided. As you can see, there's a back with no seats, and you have seated on three sides. It's called a thrust stage because I've
never seen that before.
The audience, it's theater in the round. Proscenium means it's picture frame, and this is thrust.
Okay.
So
that affords your actors and actresses and set designers to really bring the audience into the show, I'd imagine.
That's one thing that people love about our theater, and we try to play upon as much as we can. It's like you're right there. There's no separation between audience and actor of whatever you're presenting. The audience is right there. I mean, right up on top of you, and it makes it for a very, very interesting and a different experience with no separation between performer and audience. And we usually, a lot of times, we take the show right out to the aisles. Like we use the entire space, especially when you're doing a big musical. We use the entire space to and we really want to we really like to play up the immediacy of the space.
That's cool.
Yeah, very neat.
So let's talk about the current show you've got there, Gypsy.
Yes, Gypsy. Gypsy is a musical that was originally, I think it was late 50s, early 60s. Ethel Merman starred in it. And it was based on the life of the famous striptease artist, Gypsy Rose Lee, based on her memoir about how she became the legendary stripper, Gypsy Rose Lee. And it's about her youth and a lot of it is about her mother, Rose. And how she pushed her daughters into the limelight. So she was the original stage mother, I think. The whole idea we have a stage mother. And so that was, and it was an immediate hit. And what's Gypsy was known for, not only a great score, but it was known for an incredible book. The book is the dialogue in a musical, and it's called the book musical. Yeah. And
could we say that Gypsy is the bedrock material for the Kardashian family of today?
Yes. Yes, it is. It is yes, except there's no Kris Jenner in Gypsies, but there is it is, you can say that, yes. But it has an incredible script as well as great music. And that's what I love about Gypsy. It's one of my favorite musicals. It uses the metaphor of show business to talk about parent-child relationships. It resonates, has a lot of resonance in it for a lot of themes that are that touch everybody. that touch everybody.
That's cool.
So I think it's a brilliant piece.
That's great. Yeah. So before I get to my next question, the show runs from now through.
Yeah, we're in our
week or
last
two?
week. We're in our last week. We have a show. We've already played for 2 weeks. Musicals run 3 weeks. We're in our last week. We run from this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and 2 shows on Saturday.
And what time of night do you start on, like Wednesday night?
We start on weeknights. So Wednesday and Thursday would be 7:30. Friday and Saturday would be 8 o'clock. And on Saturday, we also have a 2 o'clock matinee. We also end on a 2-show day. So we have a 2-show day on Saturday, 1 at 2 and 1 at 8. And
is it recommended to buy tickets in advance?
Yes, you can buy tickets in advance. Call the number there. 733-7966. Ephrata Performing. Buy tickets online. Ephrata Performing Arts. I think it's EPAC.
EPACtheater.org.
Thank you.
Tickets. Yeah, so tickets at EPACtheater.org, or you can call 717-733-7966 extension 1, and that'll get you tickets there as well.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. It's great that you're doing the midweek shows. I honestly never would have thought that. But it's kind of nice to get that date night in if you're a busy couple.
Mm-hmm.
And, the weekends are for kids, volleyball and football and basketball and all things that go on now for families. But if you can get there in the middle of the week, that's fun. I like that.
One of our biggest nights is Wednesday night. And I guess it's the middle of the week. People want to break middle of the week. But that's a big night for ticket holders and subscribers. During the week, we do well. We do well during the week.
You said you have subscribers to the
Yes, we have
Art
subscribers.
Center? How's that work?
Well, you can buy a subscription and gives you your seat for the whole season.
Oh, cool.
Our seasons run from January to December. And if you're a subscriber, you have a seat that is yours and that you get the same seat on every production. You get a discount by becoming a subscriber instead of a single ticket buyer. You subscribe for this night, for this show, and you're guaranteed the same seat. And also you can do a full subscription, or you can do a pick for, because a lot of people, we have to do 7 shows, and we give the subscribers the opportunity to pick 4, pick 3, I think, and they could pick the shows they want. Though if you do a pick, a flex pass, you're not guaranteed the same seat. You would call and see what's available, but a full subscribers get their seat, and believe me, they're very, very much into their seats. Cool. And then you have your tickets for the entire season.
Yeah, that's cool. And all of that's on the website epactheater.org. Get your subscription. I like that. Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Yeah.
Ed, I'd like you to talk about the performers on stage. I know you have a mix of adults who may have been involved in the theater growing up, and maybe they're into their own profession, and they also perform in your shows. But I know you even have kids and teenagers, high school students and whatnot. So let's talk a little bit about the performers.
Well, our performers are local. They are we're what's known as, at this point, a semi-pro, which just means that some of our staff is volunteer and some of our staff is paid. Our infrastructure is all paid staff. Box office manager, theater manager, me, anybody who's on, and then we have contractors who are paid. So there are certain people who are paid, and then there's certain people who are volunteers, like ushers. And a lot of our actors are volunteers from the community, and they're local. And occasionally we call in an actor from out of town to fill a specific part, or if we have problem casting a part, or if it's a specific show, we will pay a professional actors or an union actor, an equity actor under a special contract. It's called an equity guest artist contract. And we will call them in. But the majority of all these they're all local people. And a lot of our young people have come up through the ranks for our youth theater. We have youth programming. We have a summer camp, that is a youth theater, a youth camp, theater camp. That's very, very popular. And it ends, they learn about acting and singing and dancing, and it ends with a performance of a show. And so you have that. And then we do youth productions, which are shows, full productions that are just acted by youth, 18 and under. We have that once a season, and next year we're having it twice a season. And so a lot of the up and coming actors now have come from EPAC, have come from the summer program, and it's really wonderful to see that. It's really wonderful. It's really wonderful to see these kids, and they grow, and they get leading roles. You know, the woman who plays Gypsy Rose Lee in this current production, she started out in Lion King Jr. And of course, the famous Jonathan Groff came from EPAC. He came from our theater.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, that's our sort of claim to fame.
Let's talk about him a little bit.
Yes, let's talk about him a little bit. Yes, I directed Jonathan first in Peter Pan as the Fulton. Before I was artistic director at EPAC, I would work at the Fulton, and I was a freelance director around the area, and some of my gigs were at the Fulton, under the artistic director at the time called Kathleen Collins, I believe. Then Michael Mitchell came in. I directed Johnny in Peter Pan as one of the lost boys at the Fulton. I think that was 19. No, that was, I think that was 99. I don't know. I think it was 99. And then he came to EPAC to do a show called Honk, which was a musical version of The Ugly Duckling. And then he starred in a show called Bat Boy, which was a horror comedy show that we did in October. And so he did two major shows at EPAC. And that's, you know, so he still comes and sees shows, and he still comes and sees shows. He's a great guy, and the one thing I'll say about Johnny, he was just in Lancaster in the library thing, and he mentioned EPAC and me and a lot of people, and he never forgot his roots. I'll say that about Johnny. He still comes back. He's very embedded in the community, and you know, with his status now, he can, doesn't have to keep up, but he doesn't have to do what he does for this community, but he does. He never forgets the community, and and he is very good to us, and he honors EPAC as a place that taught him a lot, and he grew a lot and made a lot of friends there. So
he's a Tony-winning actor, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, a little piece of that award is maybe yours and EPAC's, right?
I'll tell you honestly, when he did Honk, which was he was cast as the Ugly Duckling. It's a British musical about the ugly, a very funny, charming show. And he comes out of this big egg and goes honk. And the minute he came into that egg, I said, "This guy's going to be a star." You just knew it. You just knew it. You just knew it. And
I'll say this to Ben's point about how EPAC might have a little sliver of the awards and the success. I say, 100%. I look at organizations like EPAC and, youth sports organizations and music teachers, y'all foster something that lights a spark for kids. Maybe it's kids like Jonathan Groff on stage. Maybe it's kids that tried to get the lead part, but just didn't have the talent. But then they saw the backstage production, and they saw other opportunities to flourish in the theater. And you provided that place for them to be and hang out
Mhm.
and create new friendships and be part of something, which
Yeah.
is so great. And that's what I think your youth programming today
Yeah.
is cool, because you give place for a kid that might not be a football kid, might not be a music kid, might not be a skateboard kid, but can be in the theater. And that's cool
Right. No,
that they get
yeah,
that place.
100%. And when we renovated, one of the main things we renovated, one of the main things I wanted to do was expand our youth programming. It was hard to do it when you only operate 3 months out of the year, but now that we have a full year and we operate every day out of the year, I saw it, we really wanted to increase our youth programming and youth education. And we're still working on it. And one of my main goals, and it goes along with what you just said, 100%. And I've always said this: one of my main goals at EPAC was to create a space for that kid, like me when I was young, and I didn't have an outlet. I did not have a great childhood. I did not have a great home life, and there was nowhere to direct my energy. And
Yep.
I always wanted a space. I always wanted to create a space that I wish I had when I was young, where I could come and feel safe being myself, where I can express myself, where I could meet other people like me and get involved in teamwork and projects, because teamwork is so important. And there are kids who aren't sports kids. Doesn't mean they need to know what teamwork is, even if it's the theater. So they come here and they learn working on a team, and it's about self-expression. It's about getting all this crazy energy that kids have and directing it and into a disciplined technique and art form. And that was always very important to me to create a space that I wish that I didn't have when I was a young kid. And then when I see these kids, and when I see these kids who grow in EPAC and take lead roles and feel safe and comfortable and have a safe space where they can be themselves in a non-judgmental environment and learn teamwork and to work with others, that makes it all worthwhile for me. Makes the whole, since make 30 plus years, it makes it worthwhile. And that is something that, personally moves me in more so than just having a hit show, or something like that. It's really about giving back, and it's really about creating something that you didn't have but would have, and giving other people the opportunity. So that's the main goal.
That's awesome.
Then that, and the older you get, the more you realize, why did I do this? And then you realize, you go back and you say, oh, that's why I did it. Yeah. So, and that's cool. That's why the youth program is so important to me. A safe space is so important to kids. So important.
Kudos to you for creating that space for these young people. So I want to talk two questions. They're kind of related. The next show, I know you got a show at the end of the year here. We can talk about that. But I also want to know your favorite show that you've ever done there at EPAC. I'm sure there's one that's your favorite. So tell us about the next show, and then
so I'm at youth programming. Here we go. The next show is Elf Jr. Elf, the musical based on the movie Elf. It is the musical Elf, but it's Elf Jr., meaning it is specifically designed for young people to do. It's what's called a junior show. And so it is. We end the year with our junior show, and this year coming up is Elf Jr. And we have really great kids in it, and it's a kind of the culmination of our youth programming that these shows. And we've had incredible success with these shows. Like we did Phantom of the Opera, was a youth production. Les Mis, we did Les Mis, which is a youth production, and we've had incredible success, because I will tell you, the young talent in this area is incredible. I mean, I will put up our youth production of Les Mis or our youth production of Phantom against any production. And it's interesting to see the change, because, these kids who are coming to the forefront now. They take this really seriously. It's not just fun. I mean, they are serious about their craft and their technique and singing and acting and dancing. And they are some incredibly talented kids. Young,
Yeah.
I should not, most of them are not kids, young adults, kids to young
So
adults.
that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Does junior mean like through high school age kids?
18 and under. 18 and under.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. And a lot of shows, like you can get Phantom of the Opera. It's called Teen Edition or School Edition. It's the same show. It's absolutely Phantom. Nothing's changed. You just can slap. It's the age restriction on it. You can slap teen show or teen musical, teen edition, high school edition, whatever. But Phantom was the same. Les Mis was exactly the same show you get from adult cast, but you have an age restriction, 18 and under. Yeah.
I love me some Buddy the Elf, though.
Yeah.
What's the
guy we
what's
have
the
playing Buddy the Elf?
spaghetti and chocolate sauce?
Spaghetti and syrup. and all the sugary treats. Yeah.
The guy who's playing Buddy is Carlos, and he's incredible, and he's another kid that grew up through our youth program. Cool. He's just incredible. Yeah. So So next up is out. Then we start next year with Six the musical. Which is Teen Edition too, and that is a very popular show, which is basically about the 6 wives of Henry VIII, but done in a very modern way with modern rock.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that we start out. We're doing 2 young adult productions next year. We're doing 6, and we're doing Hunchback. So Hunchback. So
the 45th season is next year.
Next year. Yeah.
So we got this on screen.
6th. Yep. Then we go to a local premiere of the musical of Groundhog Day, which I don't think has ever been done here. So it's a musical Groundhog Day. Then we go to Romeo and Juliet, little known show there. And then The Producers, which is one of my favorite shows based on Mel Brooks' movie, The Producers. Yeah. Then a play called God of Carnage, which is an interesting, funny, it's a comedy. It's a very interesting comedy. Then a musical called Parade, which is about the Leo Frank case. And it's a very interesting show about a specific crime that took place at anti-Semitism and racism was involved in it. It's a very interesting show. Then we end with The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the musical version of The Hunchback of Notre Dame. So that's our lineup for next year.
Looks like a great season for 2025. As we look to wrap up our time, Ed, we'll have our connection cocktail, which we're going to get to that question of your favorite ever. But before we do that, we just previewed the 2025 season.
Right.
We talked about subscriptions. How can the community support what you're doing at EPAC? How do they get involved?
Come to a show, buy a ticket for a show, come see what we do. A lot of people like art in donations, if I may talk business for a second, we need to raise in a not-for-profit theater. Ticket sales are a spit in the bucket. They'll never, unless you charge like hundreds of dollars per ticket.
Right.
It takes $400,000 in donations to keep our doors open.
Okay.
Wow.
Our budget's inching toward $1 million per year. So as inflation goes up and our production values go up, and so a lot of people don't, because we're an Ephrata, the location, whatever. I mean, we have our hardcore fans, but a lot of people don't know what we do, or they assume something about our theater without coming to it. So all you have to do is come to a show and go, and people come to the show, oh my God, I didn't know this was here. Our production values are stellar. Our acting is stellar. And it is regional quality theater. And so come and check us out. Buy a ticket to Gypsy. Buy a ticket to one of our youth programs. And if you like what you see, keep coming. That's the best way to help us. And also, if you like what we do, make a donation. There are lots of ways to make a donation. Oh, there's Johnny there. There's a lot of ways to make a donation.
Well, we have that on screen, epactheater.org/donate. You are a nonprofit organization, which means that donation is tax deductible.
Yes,
and so as the year's closing out, we just had this conversation about equipment purchase, helping to help taxes for 2024. if you can make some charitable contributions, please do so. And we'd love for it to be from a connection here to EPAC.
Yeah. And the Lancaster Extraordinary Give Day of Giving is coming up. Put us on your list for donations. We usually do very well on that day. But the best thing you could do is just to come and buy a ticket and check us out. You will not be disappointed.
Share that on social media when you go, maybe a quick snapshot, not a recording because people should come see it, but a quick snapshot, a check-in that you were there, share it out. We'd love for you to do that. That's great. Man, you're just doing a lot of great stuff there. Love it. Love it. So you got Gypsy running right now. Wrap up the year with Elf. I think I'm going to surprise my wife with that one. Her birthday's in December, and she loves the Elf story. So I think we'll come for that one for sure, Ed. But I think it's connection cocktail time. Not that I think Ed's been a hard guest and people haven't got to know him and see what makes Ed tick. But let's really
you have to pull stuff out of me, don't you? I was like,
right. So we got 3 questions. You already know one of them, and I saw you twisting a little bit. You want that one first, or you want that one last?
Okay. I just hate lists because it's getting one thing. There are so many productions I've loved that I've been associated with, that I've directed and have acted in. That is so hard to pick one. And plus, I've been doing this for a long time. So there's a lot of productions. I don't even know how many productions I've directed or acted in. Years of them. But it's so hard for me to pick. I'd say, God, there's so many. There's so many. It depends on my mood, quite honestly.
That's true. Yeah.
It depends if I'm feeling emotional, it's one show. If I'm feeling giddy, it's another show. But there's so many great ones.
What was the first show you were in?
At EPAC, The Mousetrap. This is why I came down here.
The Mousetrap.
Christopher Wren in The Mousetrap. And I had gone to college for theater, and then in New York, and then just started taking jobs in New York and hotel work, and you had to survive it. And I just stopped acting because I was just having too much fun, having a good time. Sorry, that's the truth.
Yep.
It's like New York, 1980s. I mean, come on, guys. I was having a great time, and I just didn't act anymore. And then an opportunity came to come down here for the summer and to act again. I said, you know what? I really should get back into it. And this sounds like a nice thing. So I came down here with friends, and I did one show at EPAC, and I never left. Never left. It was one more show. One more show.
Cool.
One more show. And if you believe in fate or whatever. I'm sorry. What
that was a life-changing show.
There's your answer, Ed. There's your answer when people ask you this question. You can say, I love them all.
I love them all.
The one that brought me back to acting, the one that brought me back to an amazing career was The Mousetrap at Ephrata Performing Arts Center.
Oh, I have to say, I do like The Producers. I was in The Producers.
Okay. So that's coming up in 2025.
That's coming up in 2025, yes.
All right. Question number 2, Ed. If you could travel back in time, where would you go? Like time frame, maybe where geographically?
I am going to say something that is so cliched, and everybody says it. The Roman Empire. I just would love to just be there for a day. When it was, I don't know. I've always been obsessed with the Greco-Roman history, but I know that's what every guy says. But
that's cool.
It's like I am fascinated with the Greco-Roman Empire as far as history.
That's cool.
goes.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Very good.
I'm kind of a history freak. I'm the boring guy who goes to Gettysburg and knows everything that happened on every piece of land.
Right.
Very good. All right. Last one, and then you're off the hook. Favorite, and this one's easy. Favorite thing to do in Lancaster County?
Look at me eat. Eat. Do I even have to say it?
Yeah.
Like,
is there a favorite restaurant?
I mean, the food. My favorite restaurant. Oh my God! I like the Belvedere. I mean, I'm still. When I moved here in '86, I would tell you this was not a foodie town. And there were a few restaurants, and Now it is Food City. There are so many great restaurants that it's incredible. It is an eating city. It is like you can go to a new restaurant every day. I went to a 401 Prime, I think. Oh my God, the best steak I ever had. The best steak I ever had in my life. But no, I'd have to say eat and work. That's my life, eat and work.
That's cool.
Love it. Well, Belvedere is a fan favorite.
Sure.
Ed, I'm sure you give everybody a favorite show there with your direction, your passion that you're pouring into the theater. It comes through on the screen here. I'm sure it comes through on the stage at Ephrata Performing Arts Center. Thanks for all you're doing for the community and for the region, for the arts.
For these young people.
For these young kids, bringing them in and giving them a creative outlet, a place to be a part of something. And then they continue to grow up, and who knows, maybe at this next show we'll have the next Jonathan Groff. I don't know. You'll tell us. Maybe that's Carlos. I don't know. An elf. We'll see. I kind of had that little spark when you talked about him. So come see Elf for that reason.
I think there's a chance he's very talented, and they all want to be the next Jonathan Groff.
Sure.
But no, Carlos is absolutely fabulous. So yes,
very good. Well, Ed, thanks for all you do there for EPAC. That's Ephrata Performing Arts Center, epactheater.org. Be sure to check them out. You can donate to them. You can get a subscription for a handful of shows all season long. Or please just take one action. Come see them. Come see one show. Come see Elf at the holidays. We always get in that spirit of the holidays. Do something holiday. Come see Elf. If not, make a resolution to come see Six in the new year or one of their great shows in 2025. Ed, thanks for being on the show with us.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, guys. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome.
Have a great afternoon, Ed. That was a lot of fun.
Like if there's any indication there that the shows are going to be lively and entertaining, it's coming from the top down, right? That's leadership 101. Right. If your leadership's boring, if it's C-SPAN theater talk, very monotone, that's not what you're going to get at Ephrata Performing Arts.
Not at all.
Not for one bit. On that note, my sleep better tip for you as we wrap up our show. That's the on the note part. Our show wraps up. My sleep better tip. And I did this just before we got on the show.
You slept?
Stretch.
Oh, yeah.
Stretch to go to sleep. Stretch when you wake up. Get some blood moving. Light stretch when you go to sleep. Maybe more vigorous stretch when you wake up. And, little, it's okay to shamelessly promote every now and then. If you need help stretching, we have massage chairs here at the store. Fantastic massage chairs from Furniture for Life and Infinity. We just brought a couple Furniture for Life chairs in, and they are really incredible. So check those out. But yes, stretching before bed, stretching when you wake up will really help you throughout the day. And you can get tips like that in our book, Sleep Better. We'll send you one right here over my shoulder. Send you one of those copies. GardnersMattressandMore.com/sleep-better.
All right. Testimonial time for Gardner's Mattress and More, as we often do. We've got a handwritten testimonial here, recently received. This is pretty quick testimonial. We always ask about our process.
Perfect.
To
we got 1 minute left.
Assess sleep needs and help our customers find the right fit. They thought our process to do that was very good, and they said the hardest thing to shop for is a mattress, and we made it much more easy and not over intimidating. So you shop for a mattress not that often, right? You
Once a decade on
clothing
average.
and shoes and tires and cars, and you buy almost everything else with more frequency than a mattress. But I like the fact that she recognized that it is difficult, but we made it easy and painless. So
I think statistically, it might not be the last few years, but prior to the last few years with the housing market, people moved more often than they bought a mattress.
I would believe that. Yeah.
I think the number I read, this was back a number of years, but it was once every 7 years.
Yeah.
But you get a car every 4 years. You get a phone every 2 years.
That's true.
Yep. Your kids will graduate high school, middle school, or elementary school, at least in one of those phases by the time you get a new mattress.
Before you get a new mattress, yeah.
Some people had their baby and then marry off their baby and have the same mattress,
Still have the same mattress
that the baby was made on. And so if that's you, definitely come see us, because it's time for that comfort life of that mattress, you've gotten your money's worth, but we can wake you up and help you wake up happy and pain-free on a new one. And that's what we do here at Gardner's Mattress and More.
That's right.
Plus, have a lot of fun with our community, engaging with this show, Lancaster Connects. Thanks for watching this week's episode. We'll see you next week, Monday at 2:00.